to travel anywhere in the cosmos, in the universe, from point A to point B with little to no time passing. Now you have beings. Now can you see why this makes it, they're very far removed in a sense, but then there's going to be similarities. You have beings now too that, fascinatingly enough, can travel time. Time travel to these guys is almost like pushing remote control. It doesn't make any difference to them anymore. It's almost like boring. You've got beings that have the ability to live tens of thousands of years. In some cases, some of those species don't even pass away at all. They can walk through walls, so they can manipulate matter. The laws of physics, as we understand it, don't apply. But what maintained my sanity throughout all the 19 years of all of this was the fact that I hated their guts, and it was pure. Pardon me? Yeah, I'll get into that in a second. Any chance I had to, as I would tell them, squeeze their fat heads off their skinny little necks, I would have done it. And I was paralyzed the first 6-7 years, and I'll get into that in a moment, how all this came about, or now I can share this stuff with you. But what makes it even more difficult with them is the fact that they radiate an energy that is literally not of this world. So it will make you miserable and uncomfortable. Your body is not used to sensing these things. Meaning that if they're 100 or 150 feet away, you'll sense something that makes you feel uncomfortable. If they're maybe, and don't quote me, I always say this, don't quote me on the exact footage, but let's say they're 50 or 60 feet away, your spine will start to straighten up, your breathing will become more rapid. If they get within 20 or 15 or 20 feet from you, then your heart will start racing like crazy. Then you're paralyzed. You won't even be able to move. Now, I'm not sure if that's natural or that's technically enhanced as a defense mechanism. So either way, they possess it. When they, and we're talking about this particular species of gray, when they're within a few feet of you, all the chemicals in your brain just dump into your body. Adrenaline, fear, love, caring, everything that guides our emotions and guides our senses dumps into your system, and so now you're just totally gone. And then when they're very close to you, typically you'll black out. So that makes it kind of hard for them to come on over and sit across the coffee table and sip on some coffee. Now, don't make me let this sound so scary, because human beings are resilient. We adapt. It took many months into the first 18 months, and inevitably you shake these things off to where you feel these weird sensations and you don't black out. But that's what it was like, particularly for me at first. So it makes it kind of hard to interact that way. Now, for myself personally, I never asked for any of this. Prior to 1988, as far as I was concerned, yeah, I thought UFOs were possible, and I figured you'd have to be, an idiot not to think that out of billions of stars, and then that many more times 3, 4, 5, or 10 planets rotating around these stars in the cosmos, that there wouldn't have, one of these planets or several of them wouldn't house intelligent life. And I always figured, sure, it's possible, because there was so many videos and pictures of stuff of UFOs, that yeah, there are UFOs. But as far as abductions are concerned, and as far as on a global basis, into the millions, no, and particularly myself. Also, what I'm going to go over is how it started with me, and how the first 6-7 years were nothing but pure unadulterated hell with no frame of reference, total trauma. Then I'm going to share with you how it evolved in the second 6 to 7 years into something that I could understand, and then in the last 5, 6, 7 years, where it actually evolved to where I see a bigger picture, I see agenda, and I'm learning. But it took all those years for me to get to that point. It evolved to that degree. Also, I think it's important that I'm going to share with everybody this evening is a video. And how this video came about was the fact that the abduction that changed my whole view on these guys was a mass abduction where hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people were pulled all at the same time, and I saw something that they were doing. During this abduction experience, I had more of an intimate interaction with one particular human being, one person. This person, his name is Doug Redante. It's okay for me to say his name. When he was pulled, I stayed with this guy for almost 2 hours, or maybe a little more than 2 hours, during this mass abduction experience. It was the first time I was allowed freedom. It was the first time that I wasn't paralyzed. But this person was someone that was close to me during this whole thing. Several months later, I saw this person here, and then I'm going to go into that story. And this is an individual who had no real concern about the environment, had no real concern about things of that nature, but this mass abduction, things were planted in our heads, which I was 100% conscious of, and I know they do this on a global basis. And I got to watch how that flowered into this individual to be what he is today. And after I saw him for the first time, I never let on. I had to bite my tongue, and I'll go into that story. I never let on to I knew who he was, and then later on it all gelled. But however, for me, I guess I should tell you how it started. In mid-'88, I was having the same reoccurring dream. I consider myself to be normal, honest, logical, straightforward. And this dream that I was having was that something or some things was coming into my bedroom, escorted me off the bed, down the hallway, into the guest room. It was always the same thing. Walking me through the guest room window, which was a ground floor window. Of course, you know it's got to be a dream, at least in my mind it was. And into the woods. Then back across from the woods, back across our lawn, through the window, and back in bed. And this was happening several times a week, week after week, in the first couple of months. And then one particular evening, this dream became extremly vivid, meaning that I became conscious during the course of it, wide awake as like we're sitting here right now. When they escorted me into the guest bedroom, the normal part of this dream was to walk me through the window, and I was thinking, oh my God, how are we going to walk through this window? We walked through the window, they went out into the woods, I had no memory of what happened, and they walked me back the same way. On our lawn at that time, we had thousands of what I call honeysuckle flowers that would stick to the bottom of your feet. After that experience, when I got up in the morning, I went into the guest bedroom, and what I saw shocked me, and I knew something really strange was happening because you could see my footprints in the lawn, and embedded in the footprints, you could see the heel embedded into the lawn on one side of the window, and then on the other side of the window, you could see my toes and the ball of my feet embedded into the carpet. However, the honeysuckle flowers were embedded into the carpet also. So as each footstep went further into the guest bedroom, you could see my footprints with the flowers stuck in them. And then also you could see tiny little feet, which were the little worker things, with flowers in those. So that freaked me out. I knew something weird was really going on. I took a vacuum cleaner, I vacuumed everything real good, and I told myself if I have that again, I'm going to go out there in that room, I'm going to make sure it's spotless, because it's impossible for these leaves or pieces of grass to get inside the room, because not only is it a glass window, but it has screens, it has drapes, it has blinds, and voila, here's all this stuff. Well, it happened again. Okay, then that was their way, that was their way of gradually letting them know that something weird was about to happen. And the next thing that took place was traumatic. I call, before I get into that, I call that method of transport going the easy way. That's when a craft is on the ground and they